Hello everyone, welcome to Basics e-Learning. I am going to solve CBSE NCERT textbook for class 10 with a detailed explanation for all the chapters. CBSE board has released sample question paper for the year 2020-2021. This year they have released two math sample question papers, that is basic math and standard math. I have already released a detailed discussion on basic math sample paper in my channel. I am leaving a link of that video in the description box. In today's video, I am going to discuss question paper pattern, solutions and marking criteria of standard sample question paper for the year 2020-2021. First, I'll give a brief discussion on question paper pattern. The sample question paper for the standard math is of 80 marks and 3 hours duration. So question paper is of 80 marks and 3 hours paper. So the question paper has two parts, part A and part B. Part A again has two sections, section 1 and section 2. Both section 1 and section 2 questions are 1 markers. Coming to section 1, it has question number 1 to 16. All are 1 mark questions. But here you have 5 internal choice questions provided. If you see in basic math question paper, all these 16 questions are MCQs. But in standard question paper, these are not MCQs. So you need to give a proper explanation for that 1 mark here. So totally 16 questions in section 1, each has 1 mark. So 16 marks for section 1. Coming to section 2, it has 4 questions, that is question number 17 to 20. All the 4 questions are here case study based questions. Each question has 5 subsections, sub questions, right? So each 5 sub question has again options here. So all these questions are MCQs. So out of each 5 questions, you need to answer only 4 questions, all 4 case studies. So each case study has 5 questions and out of 5 you need to answer only 4 questions. So 4 into 4, you will have here again 16 marks. So part A has 32 marks. All 32 are 1 marker questions here. Coming to part B here, it has 2 markers, 3 markers and 5 mark questions. So 2 mark questions, they call it as short answers, 3 mark short answer, 2 mark as very short answer, 3 mark as short answer and 5 marks as long answer type question. So very short answer 2 mark questions, you will have 6 questions from question number 21 to 26. So totally 6 questions. So 6 into 2, 12 marks here. Then 3 mark questions, question number 27 to 33, totally 7 questions. 7 threes, here are 21 marks here. Coming to 5 mark questions, you will be having 3 questions. That is question number 34, 35, 36. So totally 3 questions here. So 3 into 5 mark. So totally it is 15 long answer questions. So again you will be given with an internal choice here. 2 questions in 2 markers, 2 questions in 3 markers and 1 question in 5 mark. Coming to part B here, 12 plus 21 plus 15, totally 48 marks here. So 48 plus 32, you will have 80 marks on total. So students who are attending standard math paper for CBSE 2021 board examination, this is the clear paper pattern explanation. In this video, I am going to give a detailed discussion on part A, all 1 mark questions along with the marking criteria. I request the students to take a pen and paper and try solving along with me so that the concepts will be more clear for you. Part A, section 1. The first question here is the 1 mark question is like this. If xy is equal to 180 and HCF of x comma y is equal to 3, find the LCM of x comma y. So they are discussing about two numbers. The two numbers are x comma y. So you know LCM into HCF of two numbers is nothing but the product of two numbers xy. So you are given with HCF is 3 and you need to find out LCM. So HCF, the product is given as 180. So LCM of that number is, the two numbers is 180 by 3, that is nothing but 60. Coming to the marking scheme here, if you write down the formula LCM into HCF is equal to product of two numbers, you will get half mark, and finding the answer you will get another half mark. So you have internal choice present in this question. First question. The other question given here is the decimal representation of 14587 divided by 2 power 1 into 5 power 4. And it will terminate after how many decimal numbers? Right. See, to find out the decimal places here, the denominator should be in the powers of 10. But here it is given in the powers of 2 power 1 and 5 power 4. So we know if the bases are equal, then you can equate the powers to. Or else the multiplication you can make it the whole power, right? So here these are two numbers that they have given in the product form. So if you can write this 2 also, the 2 power also in the power of 4. That is, if you can write 2 power 4 into 5 power 4 in the denominator, that will be whole 10 power 4 will come. But here I have only 2 power 1. So to make it 2 power 4, I will just multiply both the numerator and denominator with 2 cube. So here as the bases are equal, I can equate the powers. It will be 2 power 4. So I can write it 14587 into 2 cube divided by, this will be what? 2 power 1 into 2 cube. So that will be 2 power 4 into 5 power 4. So totally it will be 10 power 4. So whatever the number you multiply, no need to find out the number in the numerator also. Whatever it may be the number, some number divided by 10 power 4 means the decimal places will be here. So total number of decimal places will be 4 here. Understood? So whatever it may be the number that is divided by 10 power 4 means that number point, it will be like 4 places after your point, right? 4 decimal places you will get. So you can write 4 number of decimal places. The number will terminate after 4 decimal places. So if you are multiplying this logic here with 2 cube on both numerator and denominator, you will get half mark. And writing down the final answer, the statement, you will get another half mark. This is the marking criteria for question number 1. Coming to the second question in section 1. If the sum of the zeros of the quadratic polynomial 3x square minus kx plus 6 is 3, then find the value of k. So write down the quadratic equation given, that is 3x square minus kx plus 6 is 3, right? You are given with the sum of the zeros. So alpha plus beta is equal to 3. Find the value of k, right? So sum of the zeros, alpha plus beta is nothing but minus of coefficient of x-axis, sorry, x coordinate divided by coefficient of x square, right? So you equate 3 minus of minus k, that will be plus k, divided by coefficient of x square is here 3. So value of k is 9. So don't forget to write down the formula. The marking scheme is for writing down the formula half mark, finding the k value another half mark. Coming to question number 3. For what value of k, the pair of linear equations 3x plus y is equal to 3 and 6x plus ky is equal to 8 does not have a solution. So, first compare the given equations with the standard form. The standard form is ax plus by plus c is equal to 0. So now write down the given equations in this form. 3x plus y minus 3 is equal to 0. Then 6x plus ky minus 8 is equal to 0. The condition for no solution is a1 by a2 is equal to b1 by b2, but it should not be equal to c1 by c2. Now compare the two equations with the standard form to get the values of these coefficients. So writing 3 by 6 is equal to 1 by k, that should not be equal to minus 3 by minus 8. I am writing it as 3 by 8. So now compare this one. So if you comparing the inequality, you have to get the value of k. As you don't have this, as you don't have equal sign here, so first take these two, then value of k is equal to 2. So substitute here, anyhow 1 by 2 is not equal to 3 by 8. Yes, the condition is satisfied now. So k is equal to 2 is the answer for this problem. Means for the value of k is equal to 2, the pair of linear equations does not have any solution. So coming to the marking criteria, writing the condition here you will get half mark. Writing the final answer you will get another half mark. Question number 4 is like this. If 3 chairs and 1 table costs 1500 and 6 chairs, 1 table costs 2400, form the linear equations to represent this situation. So simply they are asking you to write down the equation. No need even to solve. So this is very simple. Write down. So cost of one chair is something, you write cost of one chair is equal to some x, you take x rupees. Then cost of one table, you take it as y rupees. Then you are given with the condition. First condition is 3 chairs plus 1 table. Means 3 chairs. 3 multiplied by cost of each chair plus 1 table multiplied by cost of each table. Together it is costing you 1500. Similarly, 6 chairs plus 1 table costs you 2400. So these are the two equations that you can frame. So for each equation you will get half mark. Half mark here and half mark for this. Coming to question number 5, again you have an internal choice here. So both the questions are on arithmetic progression. So see here, which term of the AP 27, 24, 21 is 0, right? So the series you are given with, so the AP here given is 27, 24, 21, so on. So the first term A is equal to 27. The difference D is equal to 24 minus 27, right? So that will be minus 3. Then you have to find out the nth term, which is equal to 0. A is equal to A plus n minus 1 into D, which is equal to 0. Now just substitute 27 plus n we have to find out, n minus 1 into D is minus 3 is equal to 0. Then it will be what? So minus 3 into n minus 1 is equal to minus 27. Then this will get cancelled. N minus 1 is equal to 27 by 3, 9. So n is equal to 10. So in this series 27, 24, 21 like that, if you keep on going, the 10th term will be 0. So you can write down the answer, n is equal to 10. So coming to the marking criteria, for this formula you will get half mark. Final answer you will get another half mark. Next question in that you are given with D is equal to -4, N is equal to 7 and AN is equal to 4. Then find the value of A. So directly you can substitute in the formula. AN is equal to A plus N minus 1 into D. So AN you are given with 4 is equal to A plus N minus 1 is 7 minus 1 6 into D is -4. So 24, that side it goes. 4 plus 24 is equal to 28. So A is equal to 28. So 28 is the answer for the option question here in the fifth question. So writing down the formula, you will get half mark. Finding the final answer, you will get another half mark for this question also. Next is question number 6. For what value of k, the equation 9x square plus 6kx plus 4 is equal to 0 has equal roots. Write down the equation 9x square plus 6kx plus 4 is equal to 0. So this is a quadratic equation. You need to find out the value of k such that the equation will get equal roots. So the condition for equal roots is b square minus 4ac is equal to 0. Upon comparing the given quadratic equation with the standard form ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0, you can get the values of a, b and c. So here b is 6k, a is 9 and c is equal to 4. So try to substitute 6k whole square minus 4 into 9 into 4 is equal to 0. This is 36k square minus 16 into 9, that is 144 is equal to 0. So k square is equal to 144 divided by 36. So you will get it as 4. So value of k is plus or minus 2. So the equation will be 9x square plus, in place of k you can keep either plus k or minus k. For both the equations you will get equal roots. So that will be plus 12x plus 4 is equal to 0 or 9x square minus 12x plus 4 is equal to 0. This they have not asked, but I have explained simply. So for writing down the condition you will get half mark, and getting the value of k you will get another half mark. In case if they have asked you to find out the quadratic equation also, you can do like this. Next is question number 7. Again it has internal choice. So this question is based on quadratic equation. Let us see. Find the roots of the equation x square plus 7x plus 10 is equal to 0. Any of the method you can use. You can either use the formula method or normal middle term splitting method. Anything you can use. So the equation looks simple. So you can do in any way. So I am doing with the middle term splitting method. So x square plus 7x plus 10 is equal to 0. 10 I can write it as 5 into 2 and 5 plus 2 is 7. So this I am writing it as 2x plus 5x plus 10 is equal to 0. So x I am taking common, that will be x plus 2. 5 you take common, x plus 2 is equal to 0. So x plus 5 is equal to 0 and x plus 2 is equal to 0. So x is equal to minus 5 or x is equal to minus 2. So x is equal to minus 5 or minus 2 are the roots of the equation. Do it and put a box around. Coming to the second part in this, the OR question, they are asking you find the value of a in the quadratic equation 30ax square minus 6x plus 1 is equal to 0 has no real roots. So the condition for no real roots is b square minus 4ac should be less than 0. If the condition satisfied, then we say it doesn't have any real roots. Means it has imaginary roots. So upon comparing the given equation with the standard form, that is ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0, we will get here a is equal to 30a In place of B, you have minus 6. And in place of C, you have 1. So write it down. So B is minus 6 whole square minus 4 into A is 30A into C is 1 should be less than 0. So this is 36 minus 120, right? 30 into 4, 120 into 1. So 120A should be less than 1. So 120A should be minus 120A should be less than. So what I'm doing is, because 0 here, right? So I'm adding minus 36 on both the sides to balance the inequality. So 36 will get cancelled. So this side minus 36. So this will get cancelled. So A should be less than 36 by 120 here. So the value of A should be 36 by less than 36 by 120. Coming to the marking scheme for question number 7. So if you can split the term like this, given equation, here you will get half mark. Then finding the final answer will give you another half mark. So totally 1 mark. For the choice question, for writing down the formula, you will get half mark. Solving this and finding the final answer, you will get another half mark. Coming to question number 8, this question is based on circles. So, if PQ is equal to 28 centimeter, find the perimeter of triangle PLM. So, given this is the triangle PLM for us, and PQ is nothing but the tangent that is drawn from a point P. Similarly, you have another tangent PT. So, PQ is equal to PT since these two are the tangents that are drawn to the circle from the same point P. Then the lengths of the tangents are equal. Similarly, if you see here, consider these 2 points LM, right? So from L, you can take LQ and LM are the 2 tangents. Again, LQ is equal to LN. So again, you can write the same theorem. Tangents drawn from the same points. Tangents drawn from point L. Then, similarly, if you consider point M, MN and MT are the 2 tangents. So MN is equal to MT, I can write. Now, they're asking you to find out the area of the triangle. Area of the triangle PLM, that is nothing but add all the sides. PL plus LM plus MP. Now, we have to write. So, PQ, you split it. PQ is equal to PT, no? PQ, you can split as PL plus LQ, right? Write it down. PL plus LQ. Similarly, PT can be written as PM plus MT, isn't it? See this line? PT can be written as PM plus MT, right? So now, what is this LQ? Can be written as LN. MT can be written as MN, right? So now, write it down. This is nothing but PL plus LN plus PM plus MN. Now, substitute this in the area. So, area is nothing but PL plus LM plus MP. So, you can write PL plus what is this LM? LM, this line can be split as LN and NM, right? I am writing LN plus NM plus MP, right? So, PL plus LN and NM plus MP. See here, PL plus NM and MN plus MP. So, that is nothing but 2 times you can write here. So, I am writing here. So, that is nothing but 2 times PL plus LN, or I am replacing this as PL plus LN, or this you can write as PL plus LQ also, right? So, what is this now? PL plus LQ? PL plus LQ here, right? So, that is nothing but 2 into PL plus LQ is what? PQ, which is nothing but 2 into 28, 56 centimeter. So if someone is asking you for this type of question in MCQs, directly you can take twice the length of the tangent for this type of problem. This is a shortcut. So twice the length means 2 into 28. But here you'll get this as answer as 56. But here you have to do the procedure as this is not MCQ. Coming to the marking criteria, writing the theorem and guessing that PQ is equal to PT, LQ is equal to LN, MN is equal to MT. Here you will get half mark. Finding the final answer, substituting and finding the final answer, you will get another half mark for this. Let us see question number 9 here. If two tangents are inclined at 60 degrees are drawn to a circle of radius 3 centimeter, then find the length of each tangent. So see here I have drawn a circle with radius 3 centimeter. So I have taken a point P from which two tangents are drawn to the circle. So the two tangents are PA and PB. And these are drawn at 60 degrees inclined to each other. So if you are taking from the radius, so it will be of 30 degrees each. So this side it is 30 and this side 30. They are asking you to find the length of each tangent. So if you find out PA, that will be equal to PB, as I discussed in the previous problem also. The tangents drawn from the external point to the circle are equal. So let us find out. If you see here, consider this triangle PAO, right? PAO, if you can consider, this is a triangle and the tangent drawn is at 90 degrees. Then this is like one right angle triangle. So a triangle PAO is a right angle triangle with PO as hypotenuse. Right? Now you can write tan 30 degree is equal to opposite divided by adjacent. So that is PAO is the opposite for this tan 30 divided by adjacent. Adjacent is PA. Right. So AO is nothing but the radius of the triangle 3 divided by PA is nothing but the tangent that we need. Tan 30 is 1 by root 3. So the length of the tangent PA is equal to 3 root 3 centimeter. So if you find one, similarly the length of the other tangent is also equal to 3 root 3 centimeter. Coming to the marking scheme here. So for drawing the picture, you will get one half mark. Then finding out the answer, length of the tangent, you will get another half mark. Coming to internal choice question, in question number 9, here given as PQ is a tangent to a circle with center O at point P. If triangle OPQ is an isosceles triangle, then find angle OQP. So here I have drawn a circle with radius OP, here O as the center, and PQ is the tangent to the circle at P, point P on the circle. They are asking you to find out this angle Q in the triangle OPQ. And you are given with triangle OPQ is an isosceles triangle, right? So if you see here, PQ is the tangent drawn and you know the tangent makes 90 degrees with the circle, right? So you have a right angle also. So I can take triangle OPQ is a right angled isosceles triangle. Not only isosceles, it's a right angled isosceles triangle. So in triangle, the sum of the angles is equal to 180. So I can write angle O plus angle P plus angle Q is equal to 180. And angle P is 90 degrees as the rule says here, the theorem says. So I can write angle O plus angle Q is nothing but 180 minus 90. So that will be 90. And they are telling it's an isosceles triangle. So in isosceles triangle, what is the rule? The two sides are equal. Similarly, the two angles opposite to the equal sides are equal. So obviously 45, 45 you can take. So angle O here is 45 degree. Similarly, angle Q is also equal to 45 degree you can write. Coming to the marking criteria, for analyzing the question with picture you will get half mark, and finding the answer you will get another half mark here. Question number 10 is like this. In the triangle ABC, D and E are the points on the sides AB and AC respectively, such that DE is parallel to BC. If AE is equal to 2 centimeter, AD is equal to 3 centimeter, BD is equal to 4.5 centimeter, find CE. So, for your understanding purpose, try to draw the picture. I am drawing the triangle A, B, C. D and E are the points on AB and AC here respectively, such that DE is parallel to the other side, that is BC here, right? So I am drawing a line that is parallel to BC here, and you are given with the measurements. AE is 2 centimeter and AD here is 3 centimeter, and given BD is equal to 4.5 centimeter. They're asking you to find out C. So, by basic proportionality theorem, by BPT, you can write if DE is parallel to BC and D and E are the points lying on the other two sides of the triangle, then I can write by BPT AD by BD is equal to AE by EC. So just very simple. Try to substitute. AD is 3, BD is 4.5, AE is 2 divided by EC is, you have to find out. So CE or EC, that is equal to 2 into 4.5 divided by 3. It's 9. 9 by 3 is 3 centimeter. So CE is equal to 3 centimeter. You can easily find out once you know BPT. So for writing the BPT condition, you will get half mark here, and finding the final answer, another half mark. Coming to question number 11. In the figure, if B1, B2, B3 so on and A1, A2, A3 so on have been marked at equal distances, in what ratio C divides the line AB? So this is very simple. Directly from the picture you can say this is based on constructions here. See, draw a perpendicular from C onto the line here AX. So totally you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 parts, and C makes it how many? A5. So 5. So it is 8 is to 5. So C divides the line AB here. C divides the line AB in 8 is to 5 ratio. Coming to question number 12. Sin A plus cos B is equal to 1. A is equal to 30 degrees and B is an acute angle. Then find the value of B. So you are given with sin A plus cos B is equal to 1. And A is equal to 30 degree, you need to find B. So write it down. This is based on trigonometric values. Sin 30 plus cos B is equal to 1. What is sin 30 value? 1 by 2. So cos B is equal to 1 minus sin 30, that is half. 1 minus half is half. So cos B is equal to half means B is equal to 60 degrees here. Coming to the marking scheme, for question number 11, directly for writing the answer, you will get 1 mark here straight away. For question number 12, finding sin 30 as half, you will get half mark. And finding the angle B is equal to 60 degree, you can get another half mark here. Question number 13, if x is equal to 2 sin square theta and y is equal to 2 cos square theta plus 1, find x plus y. Again, this is very simple question. X plus y. X is 2 sin square theta plus y is 2 cos square theta plus 1. Take 2 common, sin square theta plus cos square theta, you will get it as 1. Right, from the identity, sin square theta plus cos square theta is equal to 1. So 2 plus 1 is 3. So the answer is 3 for question number 13. So when you write sin square theta plus cos square theta is equal to 1, you will get half mark. Finding the final answer, you will get another half mark here. Coming to question number 14. In a circle of diameter 42 centimeter, if an arc subtends an angle of 60 degree at the center where pi is equal to 22 by 7, then what will be the length of the arc? So this is again very simple. Directly from the formula you can solve this question. So write down length of the arc is given by theta by 360 degree into 2 pi r. Right. So the angle subtended by the arc is theta. Substitute 60 degree divided by 360 into 2 into pi into radius. See here you are given with a diameter 42. So in the formula you have to substitute radius. So you have to write it 42 by 2. Right. This pi you can write it as 22 by 7. This goes to 21 and this is 3 here. This will be 6. This is 3. 3 will get cancelled. So totally you will get it as 22 centimeters. So the length of the arc is 22 centimeter. Then quickly move on to question number 15. 12 solid spheres of the same radii are made up by melting a solid metallic cylinder of base diameter 2 centimeter and height as 16 centimeter. Find the diameter of each sphere. Right, this is based on surface areas and volumes. Once you know the formula, just directly substitute the values and get it. So, volume of the cylinder here is pi r square h, that is equal to that they have melted and made 12 solid spheres. So, I am writing 12 into volume of the sphere you have to take. So, that is 4/3 pi r cube. So, I am writing 4/3 pi r cube. Right. So, this to differentiate, I am writing this as capital R and this you take it as small r. Right. Because from the big cylinder they are making the small spheres, no? So that's why I'm taking the cylinder radius as capital R to differentiate. So pi will get cancelled here and height of the cylinder is how much? 16. So directly you can substitute 16 also here. This is 4 here. So write down r square into 16 is equal to 4 into 4, 16 into this is r cube. Right, and then 16 will get cancelled. So r square is equal to r cube. So nothing but the radius of the sphere, each sphere, the radius of each sphere is 1 centimeter. Read the question again. They have not asked for the radius here. Check it out. This is a diameter. So the diameter of each sphere should be equal to 2 centimeters. So I am telling you again, once after solving the question, just read the question again. Whether you have solved the same thing what they have asked for or anything you have left, check it out. Otherwise, simply you will use this 1 mark here. Coming to the marking criteria for question number 14 and 15 together here. For writing down the formula, finding the length of the arc, you will get half mark. Calculation and finding the final answer, another half mark. Similarly, here also, writing down the formula of volume of the cylinder and volume of the cylinder and the sphere, you will get half mark here. And then finding the diameter, you will get another half mark here. Coming to question number 16, find the probability of getting a doublet in a throw of a pair of dice. So as they are throwing 2 dice, total outcome will be 36, right? So doublet means what? Getting the same digit on both the dice at a time. That means 1 comma 1. So on the first dice, if you're getting the second dice also, you should get 1 only. So like that, possible combinations are 2 2, 3 3, 4 4, 5 5, and then 6 6, right? So totally you are getting 6 combinations, 6 doublets you are getting. So the probability of getting a doublet is 6 divided by total outcome is 36. So that will be 1 by 6. So directly if you write down the answer also, you will get 1 mark here. No need of giving so much of explanation for this 1 mark question. This I have explained only for your understanding purpose. The last question in section 1 of part A, you have an internal choice 16 question, that is, find the probability of getting a black queen when a card is drawn at random from a well shuffled pack of 52 cards. So this is again simple. 2 black queens will be there. So in a deck of cards, so 2 by 52, that is nothing but 1 by 26 is the answer for this question. So directly you will get 1 mark for this question. Coming to section 2, it's a case study based question. So the first question in section 2, that is question number 17, you are given with a case study here. So it's a sun room. The walls of the room are here given with a 4 clear glass panels. See, these are the 4 glass panels. Then the roof is made with 4 trapeziums and half octagon here, right? Regular octagon. So you will be given with 5 questions for each case study and you need to answer 4 questions out of 5. And for all the questions you are given with choice, right? So options, you can select any one of the option. Let us see. The first question given here is, find the midpoint of the segment joining the line J 6, 17 and I 9, 16. See, if you observe carefully, you are given with the markings here. This is J here and this is I, and you are given with the coordinates. So for finding out the midpoint of the points J and I here, no need to study the case study. Directly you can use the formula of midpoint, that is x2 plus x1 divided by 2 comma y2 plus y1 divided by 2. So the midpoint you can find out, that is, let us say this as x1 comma y1, this is x2 comma y2. So that you can write 6 plus 9 by 2 and 17 plus 16 by 2, right? x1 plus x2 by 2 or x2 plus x1 by 2, anything is fine. So this comes to 15 by 2 comma 16 and 17, 33 by 2. So it goes to option 3 here, right? Part B in question number 17 is like this. Refer to top view. The distance of point P from y-axis is. So if you observe the given picture, you are given with a graph sheet in the background. O indicates the origin, X and Y marked. So this side you have x-axis and this is your y-axis. So A, P, Q, R, S, different points you are given with, right? So they are asking you to find out point P. So try to write down point P coordinates. So point P is here. Note down from the origin, it is 1, 2, 3, 4 units on the x-axis and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units on your y-axis, right? So the point here is 4 comma 8. Then they're asking you find out the distance of point P from y-axis. So this is your y-axis, this is point P. Now see 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 units is your answer. 4 is the answer. Don't get confused as they are asking the distance from y-axis, don't write down the y coordinate here. The distance from y-axis means nothing but on the x, right? So x-axis distance. So that is nothing but 4 units here. Coming to part C, find the distance between the points A and S. So directly you can count it from the picture itself. See, suppose this is here A and this is S. Try to find out the distance from A to S here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, right? So try 1, 2, 3 here, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So totally you have 16. So the answer is option 3. Totally you have from point A to point S, you have a distance of 16. So otherwise you mark down point A is 1, 8 and point S is 17, 8. So 17 minus 1 also 16. Like that also you can do this problem. Next, coming to next question, D part. Refer to the front view. Find the coordinates of the point which divides the line segment joining the points A and B in the ratio 1:3 internally. So first we have to find out the points, coordinates of the points A and B from the graph. So already I found point A is 1, 8. Let us see the coordinates of point B. Starting from here, count it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and then 5 comma on y-axis it has to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So point B here is 5 comma 10. So they have given the ratio also. Let us do using the section formula. A and B. Point A is 1, 8. Point B is 5, 10. It's in the ratio 1:3. So let us say this is M1 and M2. So point X, Y here is given by M1 X2 plus M2 X1 divided by M1 plus M2, comma M1 Y2 plus M2 Y1 divided by M1 plus M2. That is the formula, right? So if you substitute, this will be 1 into 5 plus 3 into 1 divided by 1 plus 3, 4, comma 1 into 10 plus 3 into 8 divided by 4. So this will be 5 plus 3, 8 by 4. So 2, comma 10 plus 24, 34 divided by 4. So let us see where the point is here. 2, comma 34 by 4 means it will be 8.5. So let us check. 8.5, 2, 2 and then C. 2, comma 8.5. So option D, option 4 is correct for question number D here. The last problem in question number 17 is refer to front view. If the point X, Y is equidistant from Q 9, 8 and S 17, 8, then which of the following option is correct? So for this question, no need to refer to the picture itself. Directly you can do using the distance formula. So you are given with 2 points. Q is 9, 8 and S is 17, 8. So I am writing Q 9, 8 and S is 17, 8. So for these 2 points, you have to find another point which is at equal distance. So let us say that point, I am taking it as something X, Y. Equal distance means the distance between this point, let us say that is R. QR should be equal to RS. So the distance formula is square root of x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. So I am writing here for this line QR. So that will be square root of 9 minus x whole square plus 8 minus y whole square is equal to, again this side, 17 minus x whole square plus 8 minus y whole square. So square root will get cancelled. This 8 minus y will get cancelled. So what I am getting is 9 minus x whole square is equal to 17 minus x whole square. So solve this one. You will get 81. This is a minus b whole square formula. Minus 18x plus x square is equal to 17 square minus 34x plus x square. X square will get cancelled. See, at this point itself you can select the option. The first option given is x plus y is equal to 13. See here in this equation there is no y term. Y term got cancelled. So option A is not correct. X minus 13 is equal to 0. Possibility is there. Y minus 13 is equal to 0. There is no y term itself. So no need to select option 3 also. Then option 4. So here option 1, 3, 4 have the term y. But see here in this, though you simplify, there is no y term here. So obviously from here itself I can tell the answer is option 2, or else if you simplify this you will get x is equal to 13. So x minus 13 is equal to 0. As this answer, that 1 mark you will get only for selecting the correct option. No need of like solving so much. So you solve till here. So here itself you will get there is no y term. Select the option wisely from the given options. So option 2 is correct here. Coming to question number 18. It's a case study based question number 2. So they have given scale factor and similarity scale factor. See, carefully study the question what they have given. A scale drawing of an object is the same shape of the object but a different size. Correct? See, we see the image outside and then we'll put it on the paper. So the shape will be similar but the sizes will be different. That is what they mean. Then they have explained about the similar figures. The scale of a drawing is a comparison of length that is used to draw the length that it represents. Scale is written as the ratio. Correct? Similar figures they have explained. So scale factor is equal to length of the image divided by the original length of the object. If one shape can become another using resizing, then the shapes are said to be similar. See, you have a big drawing here, big figure. Using the same shape, they have drawn another small figure, but the sizes are different, right? So these two triangles are similar because the ratio of their sides are equal here. So then these two figures we say they are similar. Similarly, not only that, suppose, see here I have a triangle. This they have rotated on the graph sheet. They have rotated. Then also that is they have changed the position of the drawing figure here, right? So then also we can say these two figures are similar. Then reflection or flipping of the figure. See, they have taken the mirror reflection of this triangle. Then also we can say these two pictures are similar. Then they have defined translation. See, you have a figure here. They have just moved the figure to another position, that we call it as translation or slide. Then also we say these two pictures are similar. So they have explained about the similarity of figures and then what do you mean by scaling. So two shapes are said to be similar when it has resized or turned or rotated, if you are taking the reflection, or if it is slided, right? So they have explained this in the question. Now you have to solve the questions based on this case study. Part A from question number 18 is like this. A model of a boat is made on the scale of 1:4. The model is 120 centimeter long. The full size of the boat has a width of 60 centimeter. What is the width of the scale model? So original width of the boat they have given it as 60 centimeter. Then what will be the width of the model they are asking? And they have given the scaling factor is 1:4. Means if it is 4 units, then you have to divide it to 1 unit. Means 60 divided by 4. It is 15 centimeter, right? It has scaled down to 4 units. So that's why I am dividing 60 by 4. So it has to be 15 centimeters. So out of this, option 3 is correct here. Part B is what will be the similarity of two polygons. So they are flipped horizontally, they are dilated by a scale factor, they are translated down, and they are not the mirror image of one another. See, in the question they have given 4 reasons. One is resized, translated or sliding, and then flipping, anything, mirror image, anything is scaling factor. See here they have given they are not mirror image of one another. They are mirror images. Then we can say similarity. As they are telling they are not mirror images. So this you can select it as the correct option. Next, coming to part C. If two similar triangles have a scaling factor of A is to B, which statement regarding the two triangles is true? So this one you just draw two triangles of different size. So here I am taking one unit and 2 units. Then here if I am taking the lengths, the scaling factor I have taken it as 2:1. Then perimeter also will come in the same ratio A is to B, isn't it? So this will be, suppose if I am considering it as an equilateral triangle, 6:3. Again it will be 2:1, right? So like that, altitudes, everything has to be in the ratio A is to B only. Medians also A is to B. Bisectors, angle bisector also has to be A is to B. So if I see here all the options, only option 2 is looking sensible here. Altitudes have to be A is to B. So option 2 is correct here. Coming to fourth, that is option question number D here, part D. The shadow of the stick is 5 meter long, is 2 meter. At the same time, the shadow of a tree of 12.5 meter high is. So this one nothing to do with the case study here. Directly you can do. See here, for 5 meter long, 2 meter is the shadow. For 12.5 meter long tree, how much will be the shadow height? Just take the cross multiplication. Let us consider this as x. So 5 into x is equal to 2 into 12.5 here. So x is equal to 12.5 into 2 is nothing but 25 divided by 5. So 5 meter will be the shadow length here. So out of this, option 4 is 5 meter. Coming to the last part in question number 18, part E. Below you see a student's mathematical model of a farmhouse roof with measurements. The attic floor ABCD is the model. In the model is a square. The beams that support the roof are the edges of a rectangular prism. EF, GH, K, L, M, N. E is the midpoint of AT, F is the midpoint of BT, G is the midpoint of CT, and H is the midpoint of DT. All the edges of the pyramid in the model have length of 12 meter. So for a clear understanding, I have just copied down the picture next to the question. See, this is the picture given, and the question is, what is the length of EF, where EF is one of the horizontal edges of the block. See here, carefully, this is edge EF, which is parallel to AB, right, which is parallel to AB, and you are given with the sides. All the sides here are 12 meters, that is the slant edges as well as these base edges. Now they are asking you to find out EF, and also given E and F are the midpoints of AT and BT. So from midpoint theorem, you know the line segment joining the midpoints of the two sides of a triangle is parallel to the third side. Then that side EF is nothing but half of your one of the side, that is AB, right? So you know AB is 12 meter, that will be 6 meter. So option 3 is correct here, as AB is parallel to EF and E and F are midpoints of AT and BT, right? So according to midpoint theorem, EF is half of AB. So I have calculated it as 6 meters. Select the option 3 is the correct one here. Next is question number 19, case study based question 3. This is applications of parabolas, highway, overpass, underpass. So here they have given the highway underpass which is in the shape of a parabola. So parabola is the graph that results from the equation p of x is equal to ax square plus bx plus c. So we know this ax square plus bx plus c is nothing but the equation, quadratic equation, right? So, and also they have given parabolas are symmetric about the vertical line. See, this is the vertical line. So if you fold on this line, so the shape will fall on each other. That we call it as symmetry. So this vertical axis they have given, it is called axis of symmetry. And maximum or minimum point of the parabola, which is called the vertex. See here. So they have given everything about the parabola. See, this is the parabola, upward parabola. You have vertex here, the minimum point. If it is a downward parabola, then the maximum point here we call it as a vertex. Don't get panic by seeing the question itself. Read it twice or thrice. You will understand very easily. Coming to part A in question number 19. If the highway overpass is represented by x square minus 2x minus 8, then its zeros are. So again for this question, nothing to do with the case study. Directly you know how to solve this quadratic equation. So take it, that is x square minus 2x minus 8. I am just trying to simplify this using middle term splitting. 4 2s are 8. So I am writing minus 4x plus 2x minus 8. Take x common, that will be x minus 4, plus 2 common, that will be x minus 4 again. So that will be x minus 4 into x plus 2, that is equal to 0. So x is equal to minus 4 and x is equal to minus 2 is the solution. Minus 4 comma, sorry, plus 4 comma minus 2. X minus 4 is equal to 0. So x is equal to 4. So 4 comma 2 is the answer. 4 comma minus 2 is the answer. Let us check it out. 2 comma minus 4, 4 comma minus 2, right? See, this is the answer. Option 2 is the correct answer for this. Next is part B. The highway overpass is represented graphically. Zeros of the polynomial can be expressed graphically. Number of zeros of polynomial is equal to the number of points where the graph of the polynomial intersects x-axis, intersects y-axis, intersects x-axis or y-axis. None of the above. This is a straight question. We know number of zeros are nothing but the number of times the curve gets intersected with the x-axis. So directly straight question. Again for this question also no need to study any of the given case study here. So option 1 is correct. C part is graph of the quadratic polynomial is straight line, circle, parabola, ellipse. So we know the quadratic polynomial is a parabola. Option 3 here. Then part D, the representation of highway underpass whose one zero is 6 and sum of the zeros is 0 is, so they are asking you to find out the quadratic equation when one of the 0 is 6 and sum of the zeros is 0. So this is also direct question. No need to do any of the, that is the given problem. No need to study any of the case study that they have given. Directly straight away you can solve this problem. So you know x square minus of alpha plus beta into x plus alpha beta is equal to 0 is the equation to find out the quadratic equation when sum of the zeros and product of the zeros are given. So alpha is equal to 0, then beta is nothing but minus alpha here according to the given condition. So that is minus 6. So x square minus, this is 0 into x, plus alpha is 6 and beta is minus 6. 36 is equal to 0. 6 into minus 6, so that is minus 36 is equal to 0. So x square minus 36 is equal to 0 is the required quadratic equation here. Check it out. Option 2 is correct here. Right. Next, the last part here is the number of zeros that polynomial f of x is equal to x minus 2 whole square plus 4 can have is. Simplify x minus 2 whole square plus 4. This is of the form a minus b whole square. So x square minus 4x plus 4 plus 4. That gives you x square minus 4x plus 8. No need to solve this to find out the roots. They are asking just how many number of zeros are there. As this is a quadratic equation, the power is 2. So the number of zeros are 2. Option 2 is correct for this question. Case study number 4, question number 20 is like this. 100-meter race, a stopwatch was used to find the time that it took a group of students to run 100 meter. So they have given a table. So this is statistics based question. Let us see what are the questions they have asked according to the given data here. Again, for this statistics based question, you are given with 5 questions. For the better analysis, I have written the table here. Let us see what is the first question. Estimate the mean time taken by a student to finish the race. So mean of the given data, very simple. Mean is nothing but sigma xi fi divided by fi. So as you are given with the class interval, first we have to find out the average class 0 and 20. So 20 plus 0 divided by 2, 10, like that it is 30. Average of 40 and 60 is 50, 70 and 90. Sigma fi, sorry, this is sigma fi or n. So that is nothing but you have to all this add up all this fi. So you will get it as here 18, 31, 37 and 340, right? So n is equal to 40 here, and then add up all these here 10, 30, 10 into 8 plus 30 into 10 plus 13 into 50 plus 70 into 60 plus 90 into 3. That is sigma xi fi. That gives me 1720 divided by 40. So this you will get it as 43, right? So the mean is 43. Out of the given options, option 3 is correct here. Next, part B is what will be the upper limit of the model class. Directly from the given table you can write where you are getting the highest frequency. So highest frequency out of the given frequency is 13. So the corresponding class is the model class. So 40 to 60 is the model class. So upper limit of the model class they are asking. So that is 60. So option 3 again. Coming to part C. The construction of cumulative frequency table is useful in determining the, so cumulative frequency, why we are drawing that cumulative frequency, writing the cumulative frequency table to find out the median, right? So that you can write option 2 is the correct one for this. Part D. The sum of lower limits of median class and model class is. So in part B, we found that model class is 40 to 60. To find out the median class, so we need to write down the cumulative frequency. Let us do that. 8, 10 plus 8 is 18. 18 plus 13 gives me 31 plus 6, 37 plus 3, 40. Right. So first we have to find out n by 2. N is 40. So 40 by 2 is 20. So select the model class. That is just, select the class that is just greater than 20. So that is 31. The corresponding class is nothing but your median class. Again it is 40 to 60 only. They are asking you to find the sum of the lower limits of both median and model class. So that is 40 plus 40, 80. So option 3 is correct here. Then how many students finished the race within 1 minute? Right. So the time here given is in seconds. 0 to 20 total of 8 students, then 20 to 40, 10 students, like that. So 60 minutes, 60 seconds means 1 minute. So number of students that they have finished the race in less than 60 seconds is nothing but 8 plus 10 plus 13, or directly from the cumulative frequency you can write it as 31. So option 3 is correct here. For more videos, please do like, share, subscribe to our channel. Let us know your suggestions and queries in the comment box. Thank you.